Welcome back to People Quickly, where we tell the wildest, weirdest, and most awesome life stories. Fast. Today we're going through the life of Anthony Bourdain, a chef who became a writer who became a traveller, and a traveller who taught millions of people how to see the world differently through food, culture, and conversation. He didn't teach us how to cook, he taught us how to connect. He reminded us that a shared meal can be more powerful than any headline, any speech, or any tweet. But before the fame, before the books and the shows, he was just a restless kid from New Jersey. Bourdain was born on June 25, 1956 in New York City. His father Pierre worked for Columbia Records. His mother Gladys was a copy editor at the New York Times. He grew up in a stable middle-class household, surrounded by art, music, and books. As a kid, Anthony devoured pulp novels, horror comics, and classic movies. He didn't care much for authority. He was sharp, opinionated, and already leaning toward the rebellious edge of life. Then came the trip that changed everything. While visiting France with his family, a local fisherman handed him a fresh oyster. He ate it raw right there on the boat. That single bite opened his eyes. He later called it a turning point, not just in taste, but in understanding how food could tell a story. After high school, Bourdain briefly attended Vassar College, but he was bored and uninspired. He dropped out and enrolled in the Culinary Institute of America. In 1978, he graduated and began the long, grueling climb through the restaurant world. He worked at a dozen different kitchens across New York, dirty, high-pressure, and low-paying jobs. Eventually, he became executive chef at Brasserie Les Halles in Manhattan, a French bistro where he'd spend years running the line. But behind the swinging kitchen doors, Bourdain was living hard. He struggled with heroin and cocaine. He drank heavily. He once said he was the kind of guy who should have died in his 20s. And yet, he kept going, driven by curiosity, self-awareness, and a deep love for the kitchen life, no matter how chaotic it got. Then, in 1999, everything changed. Bourdain published an essay in The New Yorker titled, "Don't Eat Before Reading This." It was raw, funny, and filled with brutal honesty about what really goes on in professional kitchens. The piece went viral, and suddenly this unknown chef was on everyone's radar. In 2000, he expanded the article into a book, Kitchen Confidential. It was part memoir, part exposé, and it became a bestseller almost overnight. He pulled no punches. He described the drugs, the dysfunction, the behind-the-scenes madness. But he also showed readers why chefs love what they do, why the heat, the pressure, the bruises, all of it somehow made sense. That book made him a celebrity. But more importantly, it gave him a platform. TV producers saw his unique voice, and by 2002, Bourdain was hosting a cook's tour on the Food Network. The show wasn't about perfect plating or recipes. It was about travel, about culture, about connection. And that's where he truly found his calling. After a cook's tour, he moved on to No Reservations on the Travel Channel, and later Parts Unknown on CNN. With each new series, the storytelling got deeper, sharper, more personal. He travelled to over 80 countries. He ate everything: pork blood soup in Thailand, fermented shark in Iceland, street tacos in Mexico City. But more importantly, he sat with people, listened to their stories. He interviewed war survivors in Beirut. He dined with President Obama in a noodle shop in Vietnam. He shared meals in slums, markets, jungles, palaces, and refugee camps. Bourdain had no interest in surface-level travel. He wanted the real thing, messy, unpredictable, and sometimes uncomfortable. And people trusted him, because he didn't perform, he didn't fake enthusiasm. He asked real questions, and when he didn't understand something, he admitted it. He made it okay to be curious, to not know everything. And through his shows, millions of people saw places they'd never heard of, and realised that the world is far more connected than it seems. He was also a talented writer outside of TV. He published novels, essays, travel guides, and appeared in magazines and documentaries. His voice, dry, smart, reflective, was unmistakable. Off camera, Bourdain stayed true to his outsider spirit. He practiced Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He supported underground artists and unknown chefs. He remained skeptical of celebrity culture, even as he became a part of it. But behind the success, there were still shadows. He was open about his depression and emotional struggles. He often spoke of loneliness, of feeling like he didn't quite belong anywhere. Despite his fame, he He never pretended to be invincible. In 2017, he began dating Italian actress Asia Argento. He supported her as she became a leading voice in the Me Too movement. Bourdain used his platform to call out abuse as well as injustice, adding his voice to a conversation most weren't wanting to be a part of. Then on June 8, 2018, while filming Parts Unknown in Strasbourg, France, Anthony Bourdain took his own life. He was 61 years old. The news shocked the world. Friends, fans, chefs and leaders across the globe mourned his death. He wasn't just a food guy, he was a human bridge between cultures, between people, between ideas. His death sparked vital conversations about mental health, especially among men, artists and travellers who often suffer in silence. But Bourdain's legacy didn't end in that hotel room. He changed food television. He changed how we think about travel. He gave voice to people the world usually ignores. And he showed us that sharing a meal, no matter where you are, is one of the most human things you can do. He didn't want to be a hero, but he became one anyway. Anthony Bourdain once said, "If I'm an advocate for anything, it's to move, as far as you can, as much as you can, walk in someone else's shoes, or at least eat their food." Thanks for watching. If this story meant something to you, give the video a like and subscribe for more compelling, quick biographies just like this. We've got more stories that matter, told simply and told well. See you in the next one.